take a little bit of time and show you an amazing tool that I've been using for the past couple of months or so. Rogue Amoeba is the company, and I'll tell you about another program that I've been using from them for several years now that I really enjoy. They're a great company that offers great software. Loopback here being one of those, and they were kind enough to send me this product so that I could review it for you guys and demo it for you guys and let you know what this is all about and how I've been really enjoying it and putting it through its paces. Okay, so for the first thing, let's just go over a really quick overview of what this does. This basically allows you a lot of routing within your Mac. Now, this is Mac only, so just be aware of that. There are other similar apps out there for Windows, but this is Mac only. And this allows you to route audio just in near limitless ways through your Mac. And if you are a Mac person, you know how frustrating it is to, if you stream, to get all the audio from your computer to go into the stream, from your DAW to go into the stream, from any other source. And what this does is pretty much near eliminate that problem. Okay, so let's just go ahead, and you can probably already pause this and read this in the time it took me to even talk here. But we have all kinds of resources, all kinds of sources, excuse me, that we can plug in from our computer and from apps and different things, and route it different places so that we can hear the audio, and that our streaming software or whatever can hear the audio the way it needs to. So you can combine audio sources from multiple sources into one virtual device. You can add as many output channels as needed, and then configure your routing. And a pass-through device allows you to pass audio directly from one application to another with almost no configuration required. Loopback pops audio around for you. Some cases you don't need pass-through, but in some cases you do, so it's available, as you can see it right here. They're available to all apps system-wide, so whatever app may be running in the background, you can allow it to happen, and I'll show you that shortly. So it's giving you some examples with Zoom, which is really great for virtual meetings and things like that. All kinds of other apps that you can see here, Skype included. Great uses. We can play music and more to podcast guests. We can turn multiple hardware devices into one. GarageBand, Logic, Ableton Live are limited to recording from just one audio device at a time, but thanks to Loopback you can combine multiple input devices to a single virtual device. Now this pretty much eliminates the need for things like Black Hole and Soundflower and all those other things that are very limited and you have to create aggregate devices for. This, you don't have to create an aggregate device for it, it just automatically works. You can create top-notch screencasts, which is what I'm doing now. So you can have all kinds of audio to go for that. You can record the gameplay videos. It pairs well with audio hijack, which I'll talk about here in just a little bit. And you got a lot more options with it. Works with any application, any input device. You can combine apps and devices, so it basically works as an aggregate device for you, so you don't have to go up in the audio MIDI setup like it shows down here and try to figure that out yourself and drift correction and all this other mess. You can monitor devices. There's all kinds of volume controls that you can work with. There's multi-channel audio configured to have up to 64 channels, providing tremendous power. You can custom map your channels. You can even have nested devices. Some of these things I haven't even done. I didn't even know you could have nested devices, so it's pretty cool. You can nest one loopback device inside another. So there's a lot of stuff I haven't even done yet. And you got handy off and on toggles, and there's a dark mode support. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so you've got a free download here. Let's see. The software is in trial mode. It has limitations, but you can purchase it to unlock the full version. And Rogue Amoeba, like I said, great software company, and they have great apps for doing this. So let me just show you what Loopback looks like in real time. Now, just give you a little warning here, don't get overwhelmed by what you see because it looks like a whole lot of stuff. It really isn't. It's very simple to set up. Okay, so here's Loopback on my computer. As you can see, it's in dark mode already, which is pretty cool. So basically I have pretty much everything I need right now attached to the channels that are output to my monitors. Okay, so just a really quick rundown of what's going on here. I've got all these apps that I've got connected, and I can decide which ones I want to have on and which ones I want to have off. So sometimes I don't use Streamlabs all the time, so I don't want to use any kind of resources, so I'll leave it off. I don't know if it does use resources, but why have it on when you can, if you're not using it. This is my audio interface, so this is the main thing, and I've got my browser here, Vivaldi. I've got some movie software. I've got one of my DAWs here, and here, down here at the bottom, Pass-Thru is enabled. Now, I don't even think I have to have Pass-Thru on for this to work. You probably can hear this now when I turn this off. So, in case you didn't hear that, I was going to say, or I did say that I don't think I have to have Pass-Thru enabled in this instance, and you can probably hear what I'm saying even when that turned off. And that is because Pass-Thru is usually used with another app that you want to send audio to this. For example, with something called Audio Hijack. And now that is what I'll go over here in just a little bit, but basically you can record any audio from your computer to Audio Hijack, and then you can send it to Loopback. Now they'll explain it better than I can because I haven't really messed with it that much, and that's why I'm not going to go into detail over Audio Hijack just yet because I haven't had a chance to use it very much. But I use Loopback like almost every day. It's just on and it's there for me. And as you can see over here, you can choose how loud you want it to be, and you can choose whether you want it on and off or not. And the cool thing about this is, even if I close and quit Loopback, the program, it still remains available in my audio devices here. You can see it, Loopback Audio. Okay, and if I turn this one on, it would be available as well. Okay, so now coming back down here to the routing, this looks more complicated than what it is. Pass-Thru is basically going to everything, and like I said, I don't really need to have that on. I haven't experimented with it unless you're running some other kind of audio into that, and you need to route everything else with that audio. So basically I have channels 5 and 6. Now remember, I said you can have up to 64 channels. Okay, I don't need that much. I've got channels 5 and 6 as a separate out for my Zoom whenever I need it, just for peace of mind. Not necessarily that you have to have it that way, but just for peace of mind myself. Channels 3 and 4, I've got everything else running to it except for my audio interface, which here you can see it's running up to channels 1 and 2. That's what I'm using for my main channels. Once again, this could be probably routed all to 1 and 2 channels, but just to make it easier for me, I've got it set up this way. Now, to make this sound mono, and hopefully it is sounding mono, if not I'll have to convert to mono, I actually have 2 outputs running from channel 1 to the channel 1 left and the channel 2 right, because the way my audio interface is, it's set up with channel 1 is left and channel 2 is right. To make it sound mono, I have to run channel 1, which is left and usually defaults to mono. I have to run it twice. I have to run it once to the left side and once to the right side, and then channel 2 is running all the way to the right side. I believe that's how it's working. And as you can see, these other 2 here are your pass-through ones that are coming down all the way down here to pass through. And this is pretty cool because it actually moves the wiring, so to speak, around as you need it to. So if I do this to see what's happening with my audio interface, you can see that the first channel is going to the left and to the right because I need to have that happen for it to sound, as one thing, one source, mono. You may have to do that as well. And then channel 2 is just channel 2. So just a little hint there. This I've got turned off because I don't want to hear like a delay latency kind of sound. So I've got that turned off. I can still hear it perfectly fine through my speakers, which are connected to my audio interface. The other things that happen that you can be aware of is these little options here. You can see options. You can turn things up or down for the volume. You can see that here. And there's also an option to mute things when capturing. And basically I leave this turned off because whenever it's capturing this audio and I want to play it, I want to hear it as well. So I want that to remain unmuted so that I can hear what's happening in the background. There may be instances when you want to mute that so you don't hear it in the background. That would be fine. You can do that as well. So to show you a little bit less of a conundrum here, I've got another one that's created called Loopback Audio 2, and this is just very simple. You can select your source here. You can add a different application, and usually these are the applications that are open, but you can also select one from your system as well. So here's the audio devices that I have set up. Here's some special sources that are already running in the background, and here's some running applications. Okay, and then virtual devices. Here's the loopback audio. So that's your sources. You can add output channels here, and you can add your monitor sources here. Like let's say you wanted to route this once to your speakers and one to your headphones if somebody else is recording music. No doubt you can do that, no problem, without having to try to figure out that routing in your DAW. So once again, I've just set up basically a browser source here, and I've got my DAW, and I've just got the pass-through. Once again, I don't really need the pass-through, I can have it off. But as you can see, when I go up here in my audio systems here, there's just loopback audio. Now if I enable this one, you'll be able to see loopback audio too. And you can change the names of these to be what you want them to be. So I could totally change the name of that to be streaming loopback, or watching TV loopback, or recording loopback, studio DAW loopback, whatever I wanted to make the sound. And I can have a ton of new virtual devices, as you can see down here. It's easy as just clicking that to create it. If I wanted to, I could hide my monitor sources here. Don't have to worry about that. And I don't really need that anyway, so I can hide that. So now everything is a little bit better laid out. Okay, so, but yeah, that's basically, you're going to add your sources, and you're just going to connect them to your channels, and you can experiment from there. There's manuals on how to use this. It's not very complicated at all, and it's a great piece of software. It will replace so many other headache softwares for you so that you can use this. Okay, now once again, this is my setup here. Now one thing I did run into that I can't figure out is if, for example, if you're using Google Meet, it's hard to get, I can't really, sometimes some students hear the audio coming in from, like, say I wanted to play some music in the background for them, their guitar lesson, and I'll say, okay, listen to this track, and I'll pull up a YouTube video on Vivaldi, which is my main web browser. Okay, well, I'm using Google Meet in Vivaldi, so some students can hear that, and some students say, well, I don't hear what you're playing. So what I did was I added Google Chrome to this, and I would play it in a different browser, so that maybe that was the problem. Well, even then, some of them heard it, some of them didn't. So if you're using Google Meet on a browser, it might be difficult to get the audio to come in from there. Now, I emailed technical support about this, and they gave me an answer. I can't remember what it was, but I tried it, and it still didn't completely work all the way. But that's the only thing I've really run into. It works perfectly with everything else. Like I said, Zoom is an outside source. It's not like you're running it in the same browser as you would be Google Meet. If Google Meet was its own app, that would be awesome if they have that. I don't even know if they do or not, but if they did, then I'm sure that the audio would work fine. But in this case, for some reason, I couldn't get it to work right. So that's just basically an overview on this and how it works. It's very, very easy. Once you enable it here, it shows up in your sound options as an audio device. And even when you quit the program, it stays in the background until you disable it up here. Okay, so let me just show you real quick what I was talking about earlier, which was Audio Hijack. Okay, so Audio Hijack, you can record any audio to your computer. And I'll probably go over this once again whenever I've had time to actually use it. I've only used it like 2 times because I haven't really needed it, because everything I need is through Loopback right now. But you can go down here and see, it's basically, you can record for podcast creation, you can grab any audio from the web or any app, and a lot of other things you can do. You can set it to capture audio input. You can edit the audio. I think there's a way to connect it to your editor, like your DAW or Audacity or whatever. It has its own little areas of plugins, built-in effects. You've got some EQs, some compressors, all kinds of things like that. And you can see when things start recording here. Now, this is not recording my voice. It's just showing you an example of that. But you can see it on screen, how it's working, what it's being fed into. Okay, so, and all these different things you can use it for. That's applications, there's devices that you can record. Here's another way. You've got 2 or 3, 4, sources here recording. The all system audio, you can record it to. All this kind of stuff. Okay, so there's different great uses that you can use for it. Give you a second to look at all these. Live streams are a popular one. Podcast is a popular one. You can save web streams and webinars for offline listening. It's an easy way to do that. And it even has a way to pump up your speakers if the volume isn't loud enough. It's got a magic boost feature here. And you can, it says the broadcast output enables you to send audio to Shoutcast and Icecast servers, sending your radio around the globe. So there's a lot that you can do with this, okay? So once again, this is a free download for a software trial mode and with limitations, and you can unlock the full version. If I was you, I would go with, and they actually have a bundle. They have a Loopback and Audio Hijack bundle. And if you think you're going to use one of them, I would get both of them, because then you're set. You've got all the needs that you need for your audio. If you go to their apps, you can see all the stuff they've got right here. If you go to purchase, it will show you the different options that are available, such as the app by itself or the app with Loopback. And so I would definitely check that out and look at that. One more thing I want to mention here is I've been using Soundsource from Rogue Amoeba for years. So it is, and I love this app. So I'm not just going to recommend something that I haven't tried and haven't used. I've been using Soundsource for years. It eliminates so much headache. Once again, that's one good thing about Rogue Amoeba, is they seem to eliminate a lot of headaches. And this, without having to go into your system preferences and then look at all the different devices you have, you can go through Soundsource, and it just makes everything so simple. You can add applications. Let's go through a little overview here. Fast access to system devices per application, audio control. You can even add effects if you want to. And here's the in-depth. You can actually click on these different things and see what it does. Once again, go to rogueamoeba.com. If you don't know how to spell it, it's right up here, and once again, it's in the actual logo here. Okay, strange name, great software. I love that. rogueamoeba.com. The fundamental features is you can redirect the output of the app that you're listening to. You can control the volume per app, audio effects per app. You can access your system audio settings very easily. There's some super volume keys you can use. There's all kinds of stuff. Menu bar access, which I'll leave it here in the menu bar all the time. Let's see here. Headphone EQ, that's nice, new. Magic Boost 2 does even more, so that's nice. Menu bar meters, which I have up here. At any time, without having to go into Soundsource, I can click to mute my microphone with this, or mute my speakers, my monitors, by clicking that. And I don't have to go in here and try to find where that is. Okay, so let me just give you a little overview here, and you can drag it if you want to, drag it out of the way. So let's just do this. Okay, this is a dark mode once again. So let's say I'm going to expand this, and I can give the sample rate that I want. I can tell what the output is coming from, and I can tell it what I want the input coming from. If the output is not loud enough, I can give it the magic boost. Okay, that's what this is. When you click this button, it will boost the audio, and what happens is it's a quick boost. Okay, and you boost this, and it will just like gives it a real quick boost. Now there's also a volume overdrive, so if you can't hear something very well, you can tell this to be enabled, and you can make it 4 times as louder as what it usually is, which is plenty enough. Okay, so that's what it's considering the effects here. You can also give it a 10-band EQ. You can even add your own effects. These are all VST effects that I have already installed on my computer, which I haven't even tried to use some of these, but you can use the effects that are already programmed on your computer. And this 10-band EQ is just using the generic EQ peaks and valleys and stuff like this, the settings from the Mac itself. This is once again Mac only software. So yeah, I can tell it to be, once I tell the volume overdrive off, it goes to 100%. If I need to go higher, up to 4 times, you can see how this goes below that. I can punch it up to like 400% or whatever, but I'll leave it on 2 here. And if I need more volume just real quickly, I can give it a magic boost. Like I said, for smaller speakers, you can do that. Very easy to use, and you can add your own little favorites by starring them here so that they're always available. Usually it only shows up whenever the application is being used, but I have some things starred so that they're always available. I can simplify this if I want to so that those aren't there, get those out of the way, and I can add another favorite from running applications or a different application here. Okay, so Soundsource is very affordable, and it's very, very helpful and useful. You can go in here and go to your preferences really easily. You can go to the system preferences, the audio MIDI setup. That's this right here. which you could open up. What in the world? Reopen, whatever. So, you know, if you are familiar with setting up audio devices, this is not an app. This is actually a utility that you get within the applications. And to be able to get this to work, you have to drag it down here, and it's always available here. Well, you can very easily configure it and find it from Soundsource right here. Okay, so I can tell it to go right to audio MIDI setup. Okay, very, very useful piece of software. You can collapse it even to make it even smaller if you don't need all this extra stuff here in the background. And I can tell it to go back to here. So it's pinned. I can tell it to be pinned, and then I can tell it to go back to where it was. Okay, so I just wanted to give you an overview of Loopback mostly, and maybe an overview, well, not just an overview, but a demo kind of Loopback and an overview of the other softwares. Definitely check them all out. The apps are available here. If you're into podcasts and you need a lot of different stingers and audio, you know, cues and things like that, Farrago is really good for that. But yeah, just give them a try, see what you think about them. Once again, thanks to Rogue Amoeba for sending me these fine pieces of software. And I bought Soundsource with my own money years ago, and I still use it every day to this day. Love it. And so I highly recommend that as well. Highly recommend Rogue Amoeba. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. And as always, God bless and keep creating.